Have you ever sat in a room, looked around, and thought, they are all smarter than me. They all look better than me. They're more successful than me. And no matter what you achieve, there's a whisper inside. You are still less. That whisper is what we call inferiority complex. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it hides in silence, in hesitation, in avoidance. And the Bhagavad Gita, though spoken 5,000 years ago, has a radical answer for it. Krishna says in chapter 3, verse 35,
Shreyan swadharmo vigunah paradharmat svanushthitat swadharme nidhanam shreya paradharmo bhayavah.
better is one's own duty, though imperfect, than the duty of another well performed. It is better to die in one's own dharma than to follow another's path, which brings fear. Here's the truth. Inferiority does not come from being small. It comes from losing sight of who you are, your identity, your strengths, your truth. In the Gita, Krishna calls it Swadharma. Picture this. You open Instagram. Your friend just got promoted. Another is vacationing in Greece. Someone else is flaunting a perfect body, a perfect relationship, a perfect life. And you feel it. That sting. Why am I not like them? In college, you hesitate to speak up in classes because you fear sounding dumb. At gatherings, you shrink because others seem more confident, more attractive. This is the invisible weight of inferiority. It doesn't always show, but it changes how you live. You avoid opportunities. You copy others' paths. You live a borrowed life. And the worst part? Even if you succeed at copying, you still feel empty. Because it's not your Swadharma. Swadharma means your own duty, the path aligned with your nature, your gifts, and your temperament. It's not about religion. It's about inner alignment. Each person is born with a unique blend of guna and karma. When you act in line with that, you feel authentic, grounded, and free. When you don't, when you chase someone else's path, you feel anxious, fake, and inferior. That's why Krishna says, even if your own dharma is imperfect, it is still better than someone else's done perfectly. Because the goal of life is not comparison, it is contribution, not imitation, but authenticity. Let's get real. Inferiority complex does not come from failure, it comes from comparison. When you start measuring your worth on someone else's scale, you will always feel less because someone will always earn more, look better, speak better, achieve more. And that is the trap. You forget your path. You abandon your strengths. You live like a shadow. The Gita calls this paradharma, another's dharma. And Krishna says it brings bhaya, fear. Why? Because when you live someone else's life, you constantly seek validation. You're always anxious. Am I enough yet? Inferiority isn't a lack of achievement. It is a lack of identity. Let's look at some real life scenarios. A musician feels inferior to a lawyer because the lawyer earns more. The lawyer feels inferior to the artist because she's more creative. The athlete feels inferior to the businessman. The businessman envies a spiritual monk. It's a cycle with no end. It's a loop. Everyone is trying to be someone else, and in the process, no one is at peace. Now imagine this. A person with deep analytical skills feels inferior to their extroverted colleague. They try to mimic charisma and fail. Result? Even more inferiority. But when they embrace their true gift, deep analysis, they thrive because they're now walking their own dharma. Krishna's point is simple. Perfection in imitation is still failure. Imperfection in authenticity is freedom. So, how do you shift out of inferiority? Start by understanding this. Your worth is not in comparison, it is in contribution. You don't need to be better than them. You need to be true to you. When you forget this, you suffer. You chase applause, likes, titles, validation. But when you remember this, you are free. Because the life you envy in others might not even be meant for you. Your path, however imperfect, is sacred. How do you apply this today? Notice your comparison triggers. Social media, peers, siblings. Become aware of when you shrink. Ask, what is my Swadharma? What feels natural, purposeful, aligned with my nature? Not what others applaud. Act, even imperfectly. Don't wait until you feel good enough. Small, authentic actions beat big, borrowed ones. Shift from validation to contribution. Instead of, am I as good as them? Ask, how can I serve from my gifts? So the next time inferiority whispers, remember, you don't need to be better than them. You only need to be true to you. Because inferiority dies the moment authenticity begins. Pause, reflect, and ask yourself, am I chasing their dharma or living mine? Because in that answer lies your freedom. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe. We hope we helped you a little. Thank you.